What is up? Thank you for coming to my channel, Prison POV. Shout out to the joiners, shout out to the point of view crew, and I'm going to really enjoy telling this story right now. I know you guys are going to dig it. Now, it's not my personal story. It is a California prison story, part of history, I guess you could say. And this wood from Fresno really did get a gang of people caught up. Now, trip on this. In June of 1992, 26-year-old Douglas Walker needed a fix, homeboy. He was dope sick, he needed to get high, and he needed money bad. Now, that's a dangerous person. A dope fiend who needs money for drugs is a dangerous person because they can't see past the current moment. They don't take consequences into consideration. So this 26-year-old Douglas Walker, needing to get high, goes and picks up one of his homeboys, and they go cruising around looking for a victim. They come across 18-year-old Kimber Reynolds. They pull up on her in their stolen motorcycle, and they start trying to grab her purse from her. They're going to jack her purse. Now, Kimber is startled and shocked by this, and in the chaos of it all goes the struggle. And this pisses Douglas Walker's crimey off, so he pulls out his .357 and he shoots Kimber Reynolds right there on the streets in front of God and everybody. Then they drive off and didn't even get the purse. Idiots. And so since they did do that shooting on a crowded street, it did not take the cops long to figure out who the perpetrators were. Douglas Walker and his crimey, Joseph Davis. Now, Joseph Davis had a long record. He was in and out. As a matter of fact, he'd only been out for 3 months when this shooting took place. In other words, he'd been out of jail 3 months when he shot Kimber Reynolds. And so they go to arrest this Joseph Davis. The cops track him down, go to arrest him. But he says, "You'll never take me alive." Gets into a shootout with a popo. The cops win. He fought the law and the law won. Joseph Davis is no longer with us. The next day, Douglas Walker goes to turn himself in. Like, don't shoot, don't shoot. They originally go to charge him with the murder of Kimber Reynolds. But he says, "No, man, I didn't even know dude had a gun. I didn't know there was going to be a shooting. I was just there for the robbery." So they end up giving Douglas Walker 9 years for accessory to murder and attempted robbery. 9 years and a half. So he's going to be eligible for parole, back on the streets in 4.5 years. Now that lightweight prison sentence that Douglas Walker got pissed Kimber Reynolds' family off. Especially her dad, Mike Reynolds, was mad about it. And he wanted to address the laws in California in regards to repeat offenders. He wanted to address the laws in California in regards to repeat offenders because, as a matter of fact, there were no laws in California in regards to repeat offenders. So Mike Reynolds came up with his own law, his brainchild. He brainstormed and he came up with 3 strikes and you're out. It's a baseball term. And how this law would work would be, if somebody were to pick up a felony, a violent felony, they'd get a strike. Their second violent felony would be their second strike, and their prison sentence would double. Their third felony, regardless of its nature, regardless if it's violent or not, just their third felony period, would be their third strike, and they get struck out 25 years to life. Now, he had a hard time getting this law passed into legislation. The first time he tried to get it passed, it got rejected. So then he started taking signatures just to get it on, pass the law, just based purely just on by public opinion. Get enough signatures, force it into legislation because of public opinion. Like I said, he needed 600,000 signatures, and he almost didn't get it. He almost didn't get it. Until at the last minute, another repeat offender, a guy by the name of Richard Allen Davis, kidnapped and killed 12-year-old Polly Klaas. So after that, the public was outraged, and they were just like, hang him high. And the signatures just came flooding in. And now this next thing, bro, now the story, now we come to a fork in the road in regards to the story. Now we come to an area where I'm going to literally read it to you. I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to get it wrong. A little tiny paragraph. And I'm going to tell you, bro, how I interpret it. And you let me know if I'm interpreting it correctly. I'm sure I am, bro, but just trip on this. Track with me. So, 3 strikes and you're out was passed. It came into effect midnight, March 8th, 1994. This is the important part. Track with me right here. 9 hours later, it came into effect midnight, 1994 in March. 9 hours later, a homeless man by the name of Lester Wallace attempted to steal a car radio. He was caught, sent to court, tried, convicted, and given 25 years of life. Now, the question I want to ask you, and what I just read was, is that saying that 3 strikes in your law got passed into effect, midnight, 9 hours later, Lester Wallace was stealing a radio? 9 hours later, he was stealing it? No! The law got passed at midnight. 9 hours later, Lester Wallace was in court. And his case was by the radio. He'd probably been fighting this case for a while, the stolen radio. They'd probably been trying to give him 5, 6 years. And he's like, no, I'm not taking no 5, 6 years, no 4 years for a stolen radio. So he'd been in court probably for a while fighting this case. And then at midnight in March, 3 strikes and law passes. And so the prosecutor's like, damn, let's just hit him with that new law. 3 strikes and you're out. So he came into court one day at 9 a.m. and they said, hey, bro, check it out. We're just going to strike you out and give you 25 to life. Boom. Done. And he had what? Had nothing to say about it. Just had to take it on the chin. How do I know that's the case? Because that's the exact same thing that happened to my homeboy Skip Singh. He was fighting 4 years. He's the 4th person in California and the 1st person in Kern County to get struck out. And they were trying to give him 4 years. He was going to court. I don't want 4 years. I don't want 4 years. And then he showed up one day and they're like, okay, you're right. We're not going to give you 4 years. We're going to give you 25 years of life. We're going to strike you out. And there's nothing he could do about it. He went from thinking he was going to get 4 years, worst case scenario, to getting life over a quarter gram of dope. So that's what happened to Lester Wallace. That's what happened to a lot of people. But remember Douglas Walker? Trip on this. 2 years after 3 strikes and you're out gets passed in March 1994. 2 years after that, Douglas Walker gets out of prison for the crimes committed against Kimber Reynolds. So he's finally on the streets. And though Douglas Walker does good for a long time, actually, for 9 whole years, he does good. Then he ends up stealing a toolbox. Snatch him up, take him to court. He could have got struck out because he had 2 strikes. From that thing with Kimber Reynolds, gave him 2 strikes. He could have got struck out over the toolbox. But the judge had mercy on him. He was lenient. He called it a low-level crime, and he gave him 12 years. Still, damn, ouch. 12 years for a toolbox? How can you get 12 years for a toolbox? No, he probably didn't, though. He didn't get 12 years for the toolbox. He got 6 years. Doubled up because of the strike, 12 years at 80%. So he had to do, homeboy, 10 years at 80%. 12 years, 8%, which is 10 years. I know this because he stole the toolbox in 2003. In 2013, he got out. He did 10 years. Then he didn't do good at all because he only made it 3 months, and then he got busted for domestic violence. Ouch. Snarf, snarf. Now he's going to court, and the judge is not lenient. Now the judge wants to throw the book at him. Now the judge says, yo, trip on this. In my opinion, you're never going to change. You've constantly been in and out. You're a repeat offender. You're a career criminal. And I'm just going to throw the book at you. And again, let me read this because I don't want to get this wrong. It just sounds so perfect how it's written right here. So, 19 years after his crimes were used to pass the 3 strikes law, 48 years old, Douglas Walker was struck out, sentenced to 44 years to life after receiving his 3rd strike for domestic violence. Damn, he got struck out, homeboy, on his very own law. That because of him, it was even born, homeboy. 3 strikes, got life breathed into it because of Douglas Walker. And here he is struck out, homeboy. And he got a chance on the toolbox. Should took advantage of it, homeboy. Domestic violence? Douglas Walker, what are you thinking, homie? So he got struck out. And look at this little statistic. Let me leave you with this. 60,000 people have been affected by the 3 strikes law. And let me put in perspective for you another little way. Let me show you how it can work. 3 strikes. Trip on this, homeboy. If you did not have a strike and you stole a car and got 16 months, you get 16 months with half, you do 8 months. So if you have no strike, you steal a car, they give you low term 16 months with half, you're out in 8 months. But if you have a strike and you steal a car, they're going to give you 16, doubled up to 32 at 80%. So you're going to do 32 at 80 and do 2 years for that same car. So no strike, you do 16 with half, 8 months. With the strike, 32 with 80, you end up doing like 24, 25 months. A strike can definitely throw a wrench in the plans. And with that being said, I'm going to cut the string and let it fly. But hey, we have this new thing we do at Prison POV. We're going to attach a live. I'm a streamer, bro. We're going to go over this in a minute. I consider myself a streamer. We're going to attach a live to every video from now on. I'm either going to go live before the video and explain, talk about what the video is, or go live after, in this case. Because I want to talk about some more people that got 3 strikes. Like another dude named Splinterwood from NLR got struck out over a fishing rod, fishing reel. Then the homeboy Skip Singh. Dude, the 4th dude in California, the 1st dude in Bakersfield had no idea what 3 strikes was. Thinking he's going to maybe get 4, homeboy, worst case scenario. Goes to court and they go, 25 to life. So we're going to go live and talk about it. See if you know anybody who got struck out. And with that being said, we're going to cut the string and let it fly. Peace!